You're more than just a bathroom disease.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Hello everybody. How is everyone doing tonight? How you doing, Will? Go ahead, unmute yourself, man. We are on.
Hello everyone.
Hey, how's everybody doing? This is the Neureal weekly community live stream. My name's Kyler. I'm the community manager for the Neureal project. I'm joined tonight by the fantastic, irreplaceable Will Bowen. How you doing tonight, Will?
I don't know about that.
I do.
I don't know about the irreplaceable part. I don't think I agree with that.
I don't think we can make another Will Bowen, and I don't know if the world could handle another Will Bowen.
Well, there's much more of us, I'm sure.
So
I've met them.
So how are you doing tonight? It's been a really exciting week, hasn't it?
Yeah. Weren't we talking about how the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, feel kind of like 3 months?
Yeah. Yes, it really does. Just absolutely and utterly completely packed. Jen isn't going to be able to join us in the beginning. We're hoping that she might be able to join us near the end, but we're just still going to have to see. As far as... is there any sort of business that we need to get off the table? I know that we've got a lot of announcements that are in the near future, but I don't know if they're appropriate for this evening. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and handle business for this evening. Will, is that all right?
Yeah. So we don't have any actual announcements. So we're still working on some of the major milestones. Oh wait, we do have an announcement. Our logo. We have a new logo.
Oh, fantastic! It's ready, huh?
Yeah. Is there any way you can pop it up? Like
yeah. If you send it to me on Telegram, and then I can full screen it.
Okay, we'll do that.
Oh, I'm excited.
So yeah, I just showed the top one.
Alrighty.
Let me find it here. I don't have it on this machine. I've got it on my laptop. I gotta download it here. Oh wait, never mind. I put it in the Neureal drive.
Ooh. Oh man, we've been doing a lot of talks with a lot of other people. Like I said, not necessarily stuff that we can announce yet, but I will say anybody out there who is currently considering and waiting and trying to decide if you want to get in on that pre-sale that is allowed to be part of that pre-sale, the private sale, I wouldn't sit for much longer if I were you. That's all I'll say. We only have roughly 5,000 coins left, and
less than that.
Oh yeah, it's less than that now, isn't it? Yeah, so less than 5,000 coins left. You should not keep waiting. That's what I'll leave.
Less than 4,000.
Ooh, was a good day today. And that's going to disappear pretty quickly if the conversations we've been having are any indication. So if you're one of the 4 people out there, hello, thank you so much for being here, all 4 of you. Like we've said, if you're just barely joining us, we've got one really exciting announcement, and that's that Neureal's new logo is ready to go. Will's just trying to locate that right now, and we will be punching it up on the screen for everybody to see. Oh, I've got an exciting announcement that most people have probably seen. My hair. The project got under my skin.
So now you're an official member of the team.
Yeah, you know, Ethan was saying this is. Yeah, Ethan was saying it's official bio regalia. All right, let me get this pulled open. I'm excited to see it. This is actually my first time seeing it, everybody. Just so you know. Come here, you. Okay, how's the best way to do this?
So just show the one thing, so go full screen with it or something.
Yeah. Perfect. Here we go, guys. There's the new Neureal logo. Just the top one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's version 1. I like it. I like it a lot. That's clean, Will. That looks really good. Oh.
Cool.
Anybody in the chat, go ahead. Let us know what you think. If you're out there, I'm monitoring the chat right now. So if you let us know what you think of that new logo. I think that's great. Hey, Shifting Chords, sharing this out right now. Fantastic. And if you're one of those 4 people that's out there right now, go ahead and do us a favor. Get it shared out. Let's see if we can bring some people into the chat tonight so we can get some good questions apart from the fantastic ones that we've had we've had some seriously attentive questions in the Neureal chat this week, Will. I'm excited to go over those. Is there any other official business before we move on?
Let's see. Yeah, we're down to under 4,000 token left for the alpha sale.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to pull that exact number up?
Sure.
Okay, you go ahead and say what you're going to say. Click through. Token evolution.
Yeah, we just got a lot of new stuff coming out through the pipe. So we've got a lot of stuff coming out. We've got a new video coming. We've got new websites coming. We've got
Peter. We should talk about Peter.
Oh yeah.
By the way, everyone, that number, there are exactly 3,823 NECP tokens currently available for purchase in that pre-sale. That is the steepest discount you're going to see on them, period. I would get in on that if I were you. And you've been invited to do so. I should clarify. All right, moving on. So, Will, tell us about Peter.
So Peter, we just got somebody else. We're got on kind of a trial basis right now. We're he has a lot of promise, shows a lot of promise for being our new marketing manager. So we'll see how it goes. So hopefully we'll get back into the groove of that, and we'll help push out and get some more awareness going.
Absolutely, and I'm extremely excited about Peter in particular because he's already got a functioning business running, doing influencer type marketing, and specifically he already has a good reach outside the US, and is helping us to reach into some of the Asian channels that we weren't able to reach into before, because he's got some really deep familiarity with those, and we're super excited to have him on board. We'll have to see if he sticks around long enough to dye his hair, or if we scare him off. Let's see. There's a ton of really exciting stuff that's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Like we don't have any super concrete stuff to announce at the moment. Just know that we've been in so many talks this week that it's hard to remember all of them that have gone on. We will make official announcements as always through the official Neureal announcement channel on Telegram. If you've not already done so, make sure that you subscribe to that, and also make sure that you scroll to the very top of that feed and subscribe to our email list as well. We're going to start doing a twice a month email this month, probably starting on the 15th, I would imagine, once we've got a sufficient email list to be able to do so.
So people are kind of getting worried about the time frame. So our pre-sale is slated to start on the 15th, which is in 2 weeks. Obviously we don't have a contract for that written yet, so there's a good chance we're going to have to delay again. I'm not exactly sure how long, just to let people be aware that that's a possibility at this point.
Yeah, and it's also based on some market feedback, right?
Yeah. So the main reason is we really want to maximize our effect and reach out into the it's not so much the dollar amount, it's more the community, the number of people involved,
the user base.
Right, and so we feel like we have some hard stops as far as like taking too long, but at the same time, we want to maximize our reach. We've also got some very innovative and unique, like we've talked about before, very innovative and unique things coming down the pipeline as far as the actual sale itself. So that sale should be a very enjoyable, very different experience than most people are aware of. One of the things that we're really pushing for right now, and our main goal, is to get up that pre-sign up for the sale going, so that everybody has a place to go, put in their
get whitelisted.
Get whitelisted for the project and for the sale, and get that started right away. So everybody will have a chance to get in on that. We'll also have that going during the sale as well. So we want to give as many people as much chance to be a part of this project as possible. So anybody watching this, that's our main goal. It's always has been. We want, we understand the value of community for the purpose that Neureal is, to be the world's largest and most accurate prediction platform means that we need the world's most amount of people involved.
That's absolutely correct. And we can't do it without you guys. Specifically, the 6 of you on right now. We appreciate every one of you that are here, but we honestly, we're building this community from the ground up. And can I say that it's starting to accelerate rather quickly now? Have you seen that we went from, when I joined on the 3rd, we had 80 some odd people in the Telegram group. We have 320 now. And it's kind of exploding to the point where I'm starting to have trouble keeping up with people. So you just mentioned something really interesting there, Will, and I wonder if this is the appropriate time to talk about it. Jen released that article today, or was it yesterday, about the similarities between the structure of our token sale and what Vitalik has talked about in his DAICO. Do you want to go over some of the points of that, or do you want me to do it, or what do you want, or do you want to wait and maybe have Jen do it if she gets on? Since she
I think we all have our view of it, and the reality is that it's a work in progress. I mean, our actual sale, we've come up with most of the things we need for that. So the actual sale part of the token, it's what happens after the sale that's important. So
yes.
The traditional ICO thing is like, people. You do the sale for X amount of time, but most likely it sells out. You have a hard cap. It sells out in the first 10 seconds.
Yep.
And then it's done. And then the contract's done. There's a crap load of money in a wallet, and
maybe the developers take it and run. Maybe they don't.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to run, or they put it on an exchange, or they're not, or whatever they do. That's the traditional like. So far, it's been kind of the average ICO experience, and people have a hard time with it. They can't even get on. They can't even get in on it. People are like, Anyway, so it's a big morass. It's a lot of hard. It's people. One of the weirdest problems, which is really interesting to me. And if this gets around, people should say something about it, because everyone uses MEU for token sales, myether.com. So myetherwallet.com is great. You can hook up your Nano Ledger S to it. You can, so you can have a hardware wallet version. You can do all sorts of different kinds of importing of private keys. You can, it holds tokens. All these awesome things about MyEther Wallet. I love it. There's a major issue, and it's really, really, really
glaring.
It's like the elephant in the room or something.
It's a glaring issue.
Yeah, it's really simple of an issue. And if you're out there, I got to get in contact with the bus podcast guys that
the On the Bus podcast, right?
On the Bus podcast, yeah, because they did an interview right before me with the actual, I think it's the founder of MyEther Wallet. And so she, I wanted through them get connected to her and mention this to her, because it's such a problem that nobody seems to know about. And yet everybody who actually uses MyEther Wallet runs into this issue, and they have a problem with it, right? Especially if they're new. Once they figure it out, they're like, okay, I get it. But everybody has an issue with, almost everybody who's new to MyEther Wallet has an issue, and they may never figure it out. Right? They may go use it and never figure this problem out, and they'll have all sorts of problems using it. And it's specifically the way you put in the gas price you use for sending a transaction, and they hide it.
Mm-hmm.
They put it in the top right hand corner of MyEther Wallet, where you can't. There's no association where you go to enter in any transaction. So when you go to do a transaction, it has the gas limit, but it doesn't have the gas price. And yet the gas price is an intrinsic part of every transaction. It's actually the part that controls whether your transaction gets into the blockchain or not. And they don't put it there. So people think, when they look through this interface, they think that the gas limit is the gas price, and if they raise the gas limit, that their transaction is going to get through. So people have these problems getting their transactions through Ether, especially when there's a big ICO or all these things happen, and they say, well, I can't get in because I raised the gas limit, but it still can't get in.
I was just gonna
doesn't work, and oh my god, I can't figure this out, and I've got 2 seconds to get into this sale, and oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Didn't that just happen to Eric? Didn't that just happen to one of the members of our team last night? He was trying to get into one, and he messed up the gas.
he and I'm like, he's saying this on our internal marketing chat, and I'm like, oh, once again, people are like having this problem. And so easily fixed.
Yeah, it's just a UI issue.
It's just a UI issue. All the MyEther wallet has to do is put the gas price down in the transaction with the gas limit, and to say, click here to look at the because you always want to look
gas
at the
requirements,
current gas price.
Yeah.
So you always leave that there. Don't say, well, it seems like right now the thing is clogged, because it's not always clogged. Today it was like 1 ether for the gas price. I mean, whatever it is.
One of our mods is actually in chat right now, and he says that he also thought he was going to mess that up with the titanium ICO, which was the last one he bought in on. Oh, Pierre says hi, by the way, Will.
Hey, Pierre.
He says that he actually is either delaying or canceling his show for today just so that he can watch in today and learn up.
Oh.
Heck yes, sir. I dig it.
Well, I'm trying to copy some of his techniques. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
no,
man.
But anyway, it's just really frustrating. So I'm going to reach out to the guys over there at the On the Bus podcast. I'm going to have them try to reach out to her and see if through that sideways thing we can like bring this to their attention, because they update it constantly. The whole point of having a web wallet is that you get the wallet updated constantly.
You know what?
Like every time you go to the page, you get the new version.
It's so funny.
As long as you're on the internet.
This is so similar to the exact article I was reading right before the show began, Will, because I was just reading an article where they were talking about how even the Ledger Nano S actually has a potential attack that can happen on it that the developers acknowledged and were telling people to protect themselves against today. You know what, Will? Remember how before the show we weren't getting any feedback? I'm starting to get it now for some reason.
Really?
Isn't that just the way of Google? So anyhow, essentially the issue is that the problem, the potential attack is that the nano wallet itself, you have to plug it into an internet accessible computer in order to send. And so when you do that, it draws the send address from the computer that you plug it into, and that send address is saved in the app data folder. And that app data folder can be changed with 8 lines of Python.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, you always want to double check the address.
Yeah, but what they were saying is that, yeah, all they had to do, what they were saying is that instead of making it an optional thing to make sure you check your thing, all they have to do is just make a thing that, like, a pop-up button that says, "Did you confirm the address?"
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's huge. Yeah, and that's the solution. I mean, that's the solution. So in my history of everything, I remember when back in the old days, everybody would come to me saying, "I think there's a virus on my computer." And almost every time that they did that, it was just that something was broken, that they'd done something wrong, or that they had, it was not a virus. It was like bad software.
Yep.
That just was not written well. It
Not
wasn't an actual
not made
virus.
to play well with others.
Yeah. So, I mean, most problems are because people just don't understand how to use it, and that is the whole idea of interface, and hopefully AI helps us with that in the future. That's the whole reason I'm doing this project, is because I got sick of trying to figure out all these issues, and put it in code, and I'm like, well, this code needs to evolve itself and learn about humans, not the other way around, because I'm trying to be this interface and it's just not working. I mean, it's a constant ongoing thing. I tell Kyler, software never ends.
No, and
software
see,
never ends because of that. It's because of that.
Yeah.
It's because humans never end.
Can we talk about that real quick? Because that's something that I feel it's probably a good thing to mention here on the community podcast, because it is such a common misnomer, right? That it'd be great for people in our community to actually understand this. Software is never over. For instance, like even take an old system that you might say is off. For instance, Windows XP, right? Microsoft's no longer developing Windows XP, but parts of Windows XP make up what Windows 10 is now, and they are still actively being developed based on those older codes. It's just a newer version of that older software. Software can only be born; it can never truly die.
Well, it's the project. So if you have a project, you have Windows, it's arbitrary when you do these releases. It's kind of, from a programmer's point of view, it's arbitrary. It's when it's when the code is at a point where currently at that point people have a use for it, right? And it has nothing to do with it changing in the future. It has nothing to do with what happened in the past. It's like what it does at that moment is ready, it has a use for people to use. And so that's what a release is. It continues, the development continues right after a release, and it happens before, and from a programmer's point of view, it's arbitrary. It doesn't matter when that actually happens.
Yeah, that's all a human decision.
Bugs. There's always issues. There's always stuff. And so
in fact, really, if you think about it, if you think about it, those finished releases really are marketing things more than anything else.
Marketing. Yep. And the thing about AI is it trumps all of that. It's like, well, we're just going to accept that, especially online learning AI, not just models, but the idea of online learning AI that learns within its environment and its context all the time, constantly, right? So what that means is that it's rewriting its own software all the time based on its current situation, and so it evolves over time naturally, right? And so that is the solution that we're approaching with the Neureal project, that we're approaching with AI in the general AI industry. People are starting to call it software 2.0, and so that's what that is, and that's where it comes from. Is that actual thing? So what my point is if in an AI world, this MEW, this MyEther wallet would recognize this issue that people aren't actually putting in the right thing, and it would reorder the interface automatically to put it where it needs to go.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
In the meantime, though, we have to manually do it as humans, and you can see you can see in very obvious, well, not obvious, but very bright contrast, like how hard it is for the freaking humans to figure it out.
Well, or to even realize there's an issue.
Yeah. So these guys making MEU, MyEther wallet, have no clue. Why don't they have a clue? It's so easy to change. It's like,
because to them it's natural.
It's like, boom, it's done, and no more of this like people not getting their transactions in.
Yeah, but to them, because they worked on the inside of it, and that's the only perspective they have, and so they're like, oh, well, obviously you'd have to check the gas thing, and it's up here, so that's like the first thing, you know what I mean? It's the stupid things we tell ourselves when we're the ones familiar with the project.
Exactly. So somebody needs to like just get on their butts and say, come on, move it.
If you're out there, give them an email. That's what we'll say. Tell
people to for sure go to the gas station and find out the price, because that is why it doesn't go through. If the price is up to 50, you have to put something over 50 or it will not go through. And if that happens during an ICO and you're not aware of it and you don't change it, you're not going to get in.
Oh man, sorry.
If these podcasts are like, if these podcasts we do are important, hopefully everybody in our community can spread that word and help people out, or we can go get them to change so that when we do our ICO, everybody gets in.
Exactly, because that's
everybody to be able to get in.
Yeah, like we're specifically designing the sale in such a way to disperse the tokens to as many people as possible. And as Will said multiple times, I mean, there has to be some sort of limit, but it's probably going to be like what, $1.5 US essentially for the open sale. For the token generation event. Will, we want it to be as small as possible so as many people as possible can get in on this. Any questions from the audience before we move on to some of the really, really cool, heavy stuff that we got into during the other discussions this week? I'm going to give them just a few seconds to think some stuff up while I grab this on. Let me make sure I'm not skipping over anything in our agenda, too. There's the marketing plan. Oh, do we have any kind of time frame for the new website since we have the logo now? Weeks?
I'm not sure.
Okay, cool. Always
Sure,
worth checking. All right.
It's a soon. Oh, not hopefully soon. It's soon.
Super soon.
I'll say that.
Yeah. One way or the other. All right. Here's the.
But I mean, I know I'm complaining about that, but you know, we don't have SSL on our current website. So somebody mentioned that. But,
they did.
we don't have that on there. I just haven't had the time to buy it and put it in and do all this stuff. Because that's my responsibility currently. So I just haven't had to. But we will definitely do it when we get the new site up.
Yep. We've got a team working on that now, and they're chattering away in their little chat room. Let's see. Let me just make sure that everybody's aware of this real quick. If you want to send in questions before, you can send them into the Telegram, or you can drop them in the Reddit channel. We always leave a weekly question and answer section in the Reddit channel for you guys to leave your questions beforehand. We've got a couple that we pick out throughout the week in order to answer, but I just want to make sure that if you're here participating now, we'd love to hear the stuff that you're actually thinking about during the week then, because I know it's really hard to think of a question on the spot, right? All right, so let's do a quick check. Let's see if anybody left anything. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to go back through the Telegram and grab those ones that were better. So let's talk real quick about the Oracle problem. Because somebody else besides me brought it up, and I know we've talked about it before, but is his name Al? A-L?
Yeah.
Let me read off his question.
We talked to Cameron about that. We talked about it on the last one, didn't we, too?
We did, but like I said, as long as it seems to be a point of interest, and so maybe we didn't address it right.
Well, and the cool thing about it is that it's kind of a tie-in with Ethereum. It's how kind of we tie into Ethereum. So it is a tie-in. Like with us in Ethereum and Vitalik Buterin, I mean, I mentioned him in the reply there. The reason why is because, like I said in the chat, everybody was kind of thinking about it then. We ran into that issue. It was part of the 2015 hackathon. What's his name from Storage? That was our mentor. I forget his name. I always forget his name because I only see him once in a while. Anyway, he brought it up during the hackathon and asked us how we were going to deal with it as well. So it's this big issue, and like I said in the Telegram, it comes down to the idea: how do you decentralize the payout for providing some sort of compute power towards a project? And the issue is not what you think. It's that how do you authenticate with the payout in a decentralized system that the provider of the problem is the one controlling the data so in a decentralized version, if you could make one, it would have to have some sort of a consensus mechanism for you'd have to have a consensus mechanism just like in Bitcoin for something that is not intrinsically checkable. And what I mean by that is it's like in Bitcoin, it's easy for everyone to check that this hash is below a certain number because they just run the calculation themselves and they can see that it's below the number, right? Because it's easy to, the whole thing was it has to be easy to check but hard to calculate. So
Right.
with Bitcoin, it's very hard to calculate that hash that's below a certain thing, and that's intrinsically the actual thing. And then, but you have to have that same thing because everyone around. So in order to run, like for instance, on Ethereum, so how that works is everybody who's a miner on Ethereum, a full node, actually runs everyone's program and checks the output, right? And so everyone runs it everywhere, and so that's how they solve the Oracle problem. And you can't do that with like AI particularly.
So I want
You can't do that with the
I want to clarify
with-
to everybody what the Oracle problem is real quick, because I know that we talked about it last week and it's stuck in our heads, but I don't know that a lot of our viewers are going to actually know what we're talking about here. And so real quick, Al, when he asked the question, says, let me pull it up for us. I believe it's Al, right? It's not AI. That would be silly.
could be.
It could be. Let's see. So essentially, the question is, how do we prevent people from giving false data? Like how do we prevent people from giving the false data for the payout in order to try and mess that up somehow? And essentially, it's what I talked about last week when I talked about it last week. I think I called it a social DDoS attack, because that's really what it is. It's giving what would you call that? Malicious prediction, right? No, we're talking about different issues here, aren't we?
Yeah, you know what? That question dived deep into the bowels of blockchain, and so in order to really understand this problem, right? You have to know
a lot about blockchain technology. I know, and which
blockchain.
is funny because
then this is like gonna just wash over your head, and you're gonna go to sleep.
I know.
Listening to
it's funny because the other thing that I wanted to talk about was the exact same thing. Remember the deep discussion we were having last night about the deep brain chain and the perceived limitations of larger systems like that? I really wish that we could find a way to express that to the community in an easily digestible manner, because it's so important. And so I guess we might as well try, right?
Didn't you come up with something?
I kind of did. So essentially, what Will and I were talking about last night is the concept that there are projects out there like Deep Brain Chain that Neureal specifically. A lot of people come to us. They ask us, how does Neureal compete against projects like Deep Brain Chain? And the answer is, we don't, and we're not trying to. They're doing something completely different than we are, and it's fine. They're specializing in a very different field than we are, right? They're trying to build a very large neural network where everybody that connects to it is acting as a node of that same neural network. They're not competing on it in any way, shape, or form. They're sort of adding to the overall compute. And one of the traditional problems that data scientists that have looked at this tend to raise and say, hey, I think this is going to be a problem, is the fact that all those nodes have to communicate over an internet, and that communication is much slower than it would be at a data center where everything is located inches or feet from each other and is physically hardwired to each other. And so the problem is that it slows things down. But the solution to that is pretty simple, actually, and it's what Neureal's doing. In a way, the solution is to get as many participants in the market as possible, and to get as many nodes into that system as possible, because it makes it more effective over time the more nodes that it gets. And so it becomes rather than this is where people are going to get lost, because we're going to start talking about cost per compute.
Yeah, I know. And the other thing you did is you compared it to the wrong project.
I did.
Brain Chain is not the right comparison for what we were talking about last night.
You're right.
It's Amazon EC2.
Exactly. That was the one that we wanted to use. Was the Google Cloud, the cloud
People
TPU.
come up with these issues because they don't understand how things work, and they're trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's why they ask the questions. They want to know. They want to understand what's going on. So they look at the surface of it, what they hear, and then they come up with obvious logical problems, right? And the reason they make those assumptions is because they don't know really what's happening or how it's happening underneath the hood. So the real solution to finding a problem is to these issues and these questions is to help them understand what actually is happening underneath the hood. You can tell somebody the car is You know, gotta,
that you put gas in the car and that you turn the key and it runs. But that's...
They ask you, well, what if, you know, some sort of something, you, okay, look in the hood, look under the hood and figure it out. Like,
exactly, and then you get the deer in the headlights. Yeah.
Anyway, but it doesn't matter. But the real answer to that question is not what you think it is, like to that specific question, because what he asked was actually, so let's take out this whole, the Oracle problem and metallic butyrene and,
okay.
You know, we're all thinking all this stuff and we're figuring all this crap out, you know?
Right.
And let's take that all out of the picture, out of the question. And the actual question that was asked was, how can, or is there any protection for somebody else messing with the data stream?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
For a predictor. I mean, that is a concern in the structure. Like, what if I'm a predictor? I mean, it makes a lot of sense. If I'm a predictor, I want to, you know, game the system. I would look for ways to modify the data to match it so that I knew what the data was. If I knew what the future was going to be, I would predict that future and I would win every time.
Or to try and find a way to feed bad data to the other predictors on the network somehow.
Yeah.
Data that you yourself aren't using. Yeah, but essentially to obfuscate the information. Yeah, and
now in a non-blockchain world and in a centralized world, I mean, that's pretty obvious. The centralized company would protect the data stream and be the authority that says, you know, how did you get this, you know, this is what the data is. This is the real data, right? So I'm the authority for that data in a centralized world, right?
Right.
But the problem with that is that if other people are putting their data up, if I'm providing the data, that works fine. If I'm paying people out, that works fine. That's the answer. And all I have to do is prove cryptographically that I'm the only one that owns my private key. Like, I'm the only one that has access. As long as I'm the only one that has access to my private key, no one else can fake. It's a cryptography question. The answer is cryptography itself. Okay? No one else can fake. If I put data up and I sign that data, and I have the public key, everybody can check it with my public key.
Well, it's a combination of
swap out the public key.
It's a combination of cryptography and then making sure that the only person who has access to that cryptography is the only person who is not incentivized to cheat the data stream, and that is the person who's asking for the prediction.
Right. Exactly. This provides the money, because why would they provide the money if they were
trying to get false predictions?
If they were trying to get false.
Well, I guess
predictions.
there might be some weird reason eventually, but even then, they're paying the money, so
they're the ones that lose out. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's why. So the thing is, all it is so the answer is yes, we do have in the system some of the best types of protection for that, because the blockchain is a perfect way for sharing public keys. I remember and knowing that this public key relates to this thing, like those two things match. Like, the blockchain is perfect for that, because you can just look at, anybody can look and check, because everybody has a copy.
Yep. And can verify forever.
I remember the very first cryptography thing that I ever experienced was way back in 1994 or something. And I met this guy who was way into it, public-private key stuff, and I met him, and me and my friend Tom, who you know, we did the art cache with, because we were trying to do electronic money back in 1996.
Yeah, right? You were telling me about this.
But we started doing it in 1994.
Before,
so
to make clear to everybody, before eCash or whatever, the one that crumbled right before Bitcoin became a thing, eGold. That's what it was. They were doing this before eGold. I've met both of these individuals at our Bitcoin meetups in early 2013. Fascinating. Yeah,
so we back in 1994, me and my friend Tom, who's actually on our group there in our Telegram, you know, we were gonna make art cache, ARC art cache, and so we met up with this guy who and Tom knows his name, I can't remember, but he was an expert at cryptography at the time, and he says to us, you know, here's my card with my public key on it, right? And so he says, do not trust someone saying they have the public key, because the public key can be changed. The only way to know for sure that this person has that this is the right public key for the right person, is for them to give it to you by hand. because any other avenue can be compromised, right? And that's the exact thing you were talking about before with the Nano Ledger S.
Yep. And funnily enough, Will, it's also one of the very first things I remember you and I interacting with at the Bitcoin meetup was those QRC codes, and we were talking about how it would be great if we could, or you had those stickers that you had made up so that we could scan wallets, remember? Without yeah, but we started talking about how it was an issue because you could man-in-the-middle attack those so easy, it's ridiculous, because they're all reprogrammable and there's no way to shut off the reprogramming.
Yeah. So unless it's air gap, you're not gonna, somebody can come in and mess with it.
Yeah, that was one of the very first discussions you and I ever had. Sorry, it's a really classic problem. Yeah.
Yeah, and he introduced us to that concept. I mean, that was the issue back then. Was that? So he handed us the card, and so the reason I'm saying all that is because that relates to the security of the connection between the person who has the blockchain itself.
Yeah.
So the blockchain offers it's a repository, and this is something people don't talk about a lot because they're not cipher punks and geeks and whatever, cipher geeks or whatever. So they're not talking about everybody's like that. They don't really care about that power that Bitcoin gives, but it gives the power of a distributed database of public keys, right? And it's connected to the private key, so it's better than like X509 certificates, although it doesn't relate to like websites or anything like that. But anyway, that's where that all comes from. So
hey, Will, we've got a live question.
Oh, we got another question?
We have a live question.
Oh.
Somebody would like you to do a really brief, simple example for them about how a prediction would work on the Neureal network.
Oh. Like,
let's use Lyft.
From which point of view? From whose point of view?
I think that he's asking from like, how is the software, not necessarily ones and zeros, but like, how does the transaction process itself work? Like, somebody comes forward, they say, basically a use case is what I think he's asking for. Yeah, a live example. So I think he's asking for a use case and like how would it actually go down step by step, how the process would be made, how they compete, that sort of thing.
From a programmer's point of view or from an end user's point of view?
From an end user, for sure. This seems like an end user to me.
Okay, so so just conceptually, right? So so conceptually, I have data. I have access to some data. So like I have data. That data could be a stock price from BTCE, or well, they're not around, but
that's where I used to trade too.
Any crypto. So okay, so BTC to USD price. This is these. A better one is from a user standpoint is like a Fitbit. So the idea of a Fitbit, so everybody knows that's a really personal thing, right? And people can hopefully get this. So they know what a Fitbit is, right? Everybody knows what a Fitbit is. So let's say you have a Fitbit that is internet enabled, right? That means that this Fitbit connects to your phone, and their phone is always on the internet. Okay, so that Fitbit is gathering live data. That's what live data is. So this Fitbit is sitting here, and it's got a little sensor, and it's watching my heartbeat through my wrist. And also my skin resistivity, and what else does it do?
Well, I mean, all kinds of stuff. It can actually, like, it can tell your blood pressure as well as your heartbeat rate. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Not only that, your Spire can tell how quickly you're breathing and how deeply you're breathing and how much oxygen you're actually getting out of that. That's another one that goes on your waistband.
But that's the like human part of it, right? The analysis of the data, but the data itself is the values that come from the sensor.
No, that's what I'm saying. The Spire is another type of sensor that goes on the waistband, and it detects breathing rhythms, and is supposed to be it's supposed to be able to detect stress, essentially.
Okay, but that's, like I said, the end user answer to that. So
right.
It's not that's the output. What I'm saying is that sensors they're just a sensor, and they make a waveform. So like you've seen those little charts with the at the hospital, and like they hook the people up to it, and it shows their heartbeat, and it has like
The heart
and then
monitor.
when they die, it flatlines.
Yep.
Okay. So flatlining is a date. So the wave that's going on, that's the data, right? Like, how can you, like what you just said, you don't automatically get that from that. Like, it doesn't tell if you're, what did you say about breath?
Well, the Spire, that's it. It tells when you're breathing in or when you're breathing out, and then it uses
Right,
that. They have an algorithm in the background that tells it about you from that, but that's the raw data. All it gets is it just tells when you breathe in or when you breathe out.
Yeah, and it's not like an event. It's like a wave.
It's exactly.
It's like
it's a sine wave. Yeah, it's a sine wave.
It's like in and out, in and out, in and out. Right? So it's not like telling you if you're breathing in, you're breathing out. Like, you have to interpret that.
Yes. It's raw
it doesn't
data.
automatically figure that out, right?
Yep.
Like, you look at it as a human being, and you automatically really easily interpret that, and you figure that out yourself. Okay. So I'm trying to get that part of it out of the equation, you know, so people really understand what data is.
Right. So what you're saying
is
forget the human interpretation of the data itself. Like, it's not actually going to say what your heartbeat is or what your heart rhythm is. It's literally just going to be data points for it. Okay. And live data points particularly.
Yeah, because it's live means that it's not data that it's saved on a hard drive. It's data that's coming out of the Fitbit constantly. Like, because your heart beats constantly into the future. I mean, hopefully, you know, until you die and then it flatlines.
So that live data gets uploaded.
You know.
Yeah. So we go from live data, and then what? Like, let's use the heart rate.
Yeah. Okay. So we got live data. So we get that. So you got the Fitbit connected to your phone, connected to the internet. It takes the data from the Fitbit through the phone, sends it through the internet to Neureal. Okay, so if you think of Neureal as a black box, so it sends that data out to Neureal. It's some money. Okay? But it's not piling up on your phone and then in a big pot, and then it like ships it off in a big, you know, pot over the Neureal.
I wanna go ahead and make sure that I clarify this to people, why that's a big deal. That's what most applications do in order to save battery power and some other things nowadays, is that they sort of save up pots of data, and then they send those pots out when you say come to some Wi-Fi or something, when it's going to be lower powered. But because of the way that Neureal works, it's going to have to all be live. Or at least, if it is historic data, I guess technically it could be historic data so long as you play it back in a live format, right?
Yeah. So, but I wouldn't worry about that, because that just confuses the issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's live. So it literally gets the data, your heart, the waves coming out of the Fitbit into the phone, and then it goes into Neureal. Okay? They got this wave going into Neureal. This is the live data wave, right? And it's going beat, 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 beat. Yeah? So that does that. Okay, then Neureal, okay, Neureal sends back to the phone or whatever, or somewhere else. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't send it back. Neureal then presents the future of that curve.
Not just a single data point about what it's going to be tomorrow or 2 hours from now or next week. The future of that curve forever.
Well, not forever. I mean,
well, but a predetermined length of time. But what I mean is that specifically it is... It's not second by second or individual data points. It is a live, continuous stream of prediction.
It is individual data points.
Well, I know. I get what you were saying.
Second by second,
exactly.
It's all data is like that. All data is quantized.
Yes, but I guess
no matter what, at the end of the universe is quantized data.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
so all data is quantized.
Yes, but what I meant by that is that not in what we would traditionally understand as like a hey, like a couple of minutes apart or that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It is whatever the base flow of the data is. Does that make sense?
Could be a couple minutes apart. Yeah, it could be years apart each data point, right? And that's how you get events, right? But you're not going to be able to gain. That's not the point. The point is that you can do second by second. You can do you could, if the neural network was efficient enough, it could do millisecond by millisecond data points. Da 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 da. But that's what it is. It's just it's a wave. It looks like a wave going through, right? So, and that's for two-dimensional data. It could be any data. Another example is a video. So a video stream. A video stream is the CCD camera that watches your house or whatever, you know, constantly looking for that, you know, looking for that robber or whatever, or somebody coming in, or the, you know, seeing a cat and freaking out, thinking it's a robber, right, or whatever. So a live data is anything that happens live that you do not know the future of, that you want to know the future, that there's some value in knowing the future of it, right? And that's what we want for Neureal. Like, that's not data in general. Data can be valueless to certain people, but if you have live data and knowing the future of that data is valuable, then that's what works for. That's what Neureal is about.
Yes.
So one thing that's really interesting about that, and we're trying to come up with some visuals, right? So let's say you have a everybody. I don't know if any, you know, a lot of people do trading, or at least try to buy and sell crypto. Like everybody, you know, if you're into crypto, you're like,
so perfect. He was just asking you for a concrete example. So this is perfect.
So this is great. So if you have, everybody looks at a chart, a crypto chart. Here's a candlestick chart. Everybody sees those on whatever. They always got to look at that. What's the price? Or they just look at the price. But if you do ever look at the chart, right? The chart, always the last part of the chart is the current time, right? It's right now, right? And as time goes by, that chart changes, right? And so here's the current time right here, and then as time goes by, it changes and goes this way, right? So with Neureal, what you do is you get a curve into the future, and so you see this. Here's the present right here,
and it's a moving line. Yep. But instead of it ending,
right here,
it extrapolates.
It expands out, and you can see it over here. So the kind of chart you can make with Neureal is that you have a chart, and here's the present, and there's the future. So if you see the price go like this, what are you going to do?
Buy.
I would buy.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, sir. And by the way,
here's the present, and here's the chart. Right, I'm going to buy.
This is a good segue, is it not, Will, into talking about what we were talking about the other day?
If here's the chart, I'm going to sell.
Yep. Pretty simple.
Unless I don't like money.
Well, that's true. There are a lot of people who apparently just don't like money. There are people who buy Ripple. Oh. No offense to anyone out there. It's just a little fun joke.
Yeah.
Here's another live question. So 50 predictions from multiple mining computers. How do end users choose the one that is correct? That's a great question, Corey, and I can answer that one. They don't have to choose the one that's correct. Neureal rewards the one that is most correct, or, well, it depends on how you set it up. You can set it up so that it rewards a range of the ones that are the most correct. If there are certain reasons that would be good to do that, and I won't go into that. But you can also set it up to where it only rewards the one that gives the most correct answer. And then it's easy to leverage those over time. Does that make sense?
No. Not to me.
Is that not what you told me? Like, it... You told me that when you... Oh, okay. I was just going to say, when you set up an oracle, that's what it does. By the way, all my vapors out there in the crowd, thanks for noticing. I love vaping too. CBD is the way to go if you can get a hold of it. And yes, this is Maui Wowie, which is Maui Sun, which is pineapple, orange, and guava. So hey, Will, I was saying we were talking about the trading bot. We don't have very much time left, but would this not be? We have 5 minutes left. Is this an okay time? Yeah, I know, right? Is this a decent time to talk about? Oh wait. So based on past correct predictive pattern. Not necessarily, Corey. There's a lot of things that go into that. I think if you want to dig down a little deeper, I wish we had more time, dang it. Why don't you ping us in the Telegram group? In fact, this is a good, we've got 5 minutes left. Before we go, if you haven't done so already, smash that like button, guys, because it helps get us more visible. We're gaining more every day. We've had 12 people, Will, by the way, for the majority of the stream.
I don't mind if we've got this much interest. You know, we weren't really. We weren't really ready for this particularly.
I have a business meeting about Neureal with some people 20 minutes away in about 45 minutes.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. I ended up running into some people that I used to work with at Traeger, and they asked me what I'm doing now, and I told them, and they were like, "Hey, let's go run out and have a meeting tonight." So that's what I'm gonna go do.
Well, we're gonna have another one next week. So let everybody that's here save your questions. We'll make sure put them on the channels because that's the way we'll do it. I mean, Kyler, I thought there were some questions. Did we get them all answered that were out there?
We didn't. We had some questions that had been asked. Not specifically. We'd answered all the ones that we'd already done. So nobody's.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. We've answered all the ones that are there.
That we had were asked.
Yeah, we didn't elevate all the ones that I wanted to elevate because we had a bunch of live questions coming in. And that's always good, right? Yeah. So we'll try and make if I didn't get to your question this week and I told you that I was going to elevate it up, I will absolutely do that next week. We'll get to that. Again, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. If you're new here, make sure you hit that little bell icon. That's going to let you know when we go live. If you've not already done so, head to Neureal.net, Neureal.net. Go to our Telegram group and join up because we are there. I am there basically 24/7. If I'm not asleep, I'm in that chat room. And I will answer all questions. If you have a question for Will, you just tag him, and he will tag you when he gets some time. The poor guy is running around like he's got his head on fire.
That's cute.
So I know. Mine really is, yeah. Oh man.
Mine's nice and cool and and frosty.
Where's Jen's? Hers is more organic.
Hers is warm.
Warm. I like it. Oh, and by the way, Jen might be streaming with me from here next week. Jen is heading up to Oregon in order for... We're going to be doing a whole bunch of work, and she thought being physically here would be good, and she's visiting some family members nearby. So, Jen might be joining me physically on the live stream next week, so that'll be exciting. Had you not heard this yet, Will?
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's see. There is nothing else. I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much. You've been fantastic. Again, all your questions, bring them back later. Oh, yeah. Hey, Third Man Crypto. That's a great question. You need to bring that into the chat later. All right, we need to get out of here. Will, you have a great evening. You in the chat, you guys have a fantastic evening. And thank you. Join us next week. Goodbye.